this chapter is late, and that's for reasons beyond my control. But things are setting up to be quite interesting again. But now I'm actually, because it's setting up these situations where I cannot guess the one thing and the other thing. And that is Riboku right now being played? Or is he actually underestimating the Shin army? Or is it the fact that all the others of his vessels are underestimating the Shin army, but Riboku is not? I mean, to be fair, I don't think Riboku is underestimating the Shin army, because he knows for a fact how dangerous they are if they're gonna do that and that. It's just that we now have a time limit set. 10 days for the Shin army, 20 days for the city of Gyo. So in essence, Shin China army would run out first. The question is though, will it really? Well, we'll see. Yes, this is the Kingdom chapter 550, and we see the aftermath of the fight. We see many people saying goodbye to their well, vessels. We see even the Hishin unit. Actually, we see some of the survivors. Turns out the guy from before is not the only guy. Kanto is not the only guy who did survive. Heirei, Kyuko, and Kakuni actually did survive, but the rest, well, not that much. They're very, traumatized by this, but that can't really be helped. Because, well, this is their first campaign and death is part of it. But yeah, the Hishin unit suffered an immense, massive loss, including 50-man commanders and many, many more. So yeah, they put up a good fight. However, they still lost a huge amount of members. Although it's said here that the South Supreme Commander dispatched 1,000 strong Yuyon army to serve as the hefty reinforcements, and was matched up by the Hishin unit. Although internally struggling and putting up a good fight, they will be able to somehow reverse the tide to an extent. The tide ultimately allowing them to end the day on relatively even footing with the Guyon army. So despite the heavy losses, they still seems to, well, still have, I guess in the end the Hishin unit really did save the day this time, and despite losses, they prevailed. They followed Riboku's gambit. It's also worth noting that many of the old, well, you know, the Rook players are also very dazed. Kyoukai is in her tent resting, as Shin has actually crawled all the way to her tent, because, well, he wanted to talk to her and have some help. He also couldn't move, but I guess that's Shin for you. Despite having wounds that are really cracking apart, he's still moving, proving he is indeed a little bit stronger than we give him credit for. However, the reason why Krollo the Kyoukai said that thanks to her prevailing and her skill that the Hishin unit are saved. It's worth noting though that even though she is badly wounded, she is actually only lying on the floor and not heavily bandaged like Shin. And then we get an interesting moment. So Shin says it's more interesting to have a talk with Shin, and then suddenly Kyoukai asks Shin to take out his hands so they can hold hands. Of course, Shin overreacts with this because, well, Kyoukai says this is a skill from her clan, something like a good luck charm that by combining has you can share your life force with someone else. So, well, and Shin, well, doesn't really believe that. More than that, he's a little bit shy in holding hands with a girl, because it's worth noting that once he is holding hands, Shin cannot stop blushing. So Kyoukai said that was a joke, because actually it was more of a technique to absorb someone else's strength. So maybe, well, Kyoukai was the one on the exhausting thing, and she needed a part of Shin's strength. Effectively, they did share strength, so to speak, because, again, Shin was the one who crawled away all over the tent. However, these two heavyweights did suffer some damage. Problem, will they be back on their feet tomorrow? Well, they have to, don't they? As Kyoukai says that her sword is growing more and more anxious by the day. as the two of them agree that this is a battle where they cannot win unless they exhaust all of their strength to the point of death door, meaning that they have to evolve or die. And the only way a soldier can evolve is if they have in death door. So yeah, a little touchy moment there, although it wasn't really intended to be a touchy moment. Shin and Kyoukai held hands. Although I highly doubt they will go further than that. It's worth noting that it still happens, so, well, funny moments. On the South camp, Goyun is thinking about all of today and mentioning, and also what is happening these last 3 days, or was it 4 days? Saying like all the way for Morten stopping another army, for the Ohorn army to able to hold down Shoyugaru's aim, and now the Hishin unit having stopped his army assault. Of course, the arrogant Gake, the guy with the spear, also says that he doesn't believe these commanders are worth his time. I'm longing for the time when he finally is cut down, because his arrogance is honestly driving me to the point I want to puke. So Guyun says that do not underestimate them, and he actually says one very valid point that few people have actually thought about. Even the Shin 6 generals were once leaders of only 5,000, 3,000 and 100 men. And that is true. The 6 great generals may have become great generals, but they didn't start to be that great generals. They carried their way through the battlefield and became that strong. They started from scratch and went all the way up to the top. No one starts at the top. So now he means that they were at the beginning also just rookies, and in the end they became the most feared people in the entire China. So yeah, he talks to his fellow man of the same era, who says that he feels like he acknowledges both Shin and Kyoukai as someone who has the reminder of the 6 great generals. That is actually great. He acknowledges Shin to have the same potential as the 6th general, just as Kyoukai has. So he says that they need to stomp them out right now, because if Morten, Shin, Kyoukai and Ohon, meaning that yes, I guess in the end it's those 4 that holds the strongest potential, not 3, 4. Kyoukai can become the leader of her own place if she wants to. However, he does says that if they were to mature, then Sao will face a devastating future. However, he also acknowledges that if the future with those 4 youngsters, as well as the new promising generals, all fall in this way, then Shin China will suffer a humiliating loss, and in the end, well, can never ever recover from it. He is effectively, in a poetic way, saying right now history is at 2 different directions, and he's right. It will either end with the Shin China youngsters growing and maturing and actually prevailing and to South's destruction, or it can end with Shin China's generals all dead and South's victory. This is literally the change of pace, so to speak. So, well, with that, he's saying that he enjoys this field because this is something his lord may have very well anticipated. So Gaku says that just pisses him off. However, Gyoyun acknowledges that he knows that this is not his battlefield, because he and Shogaru are just one of the many blades. The one who lead the victory is Riboku, who he actually acknowledges as the strongest free member of the 3 great heaven in all of history. Well, that is a bit strange. What about Hawken? Either way, a messenger come to Riboku, who reports the food supply, because apparently they needed to calculate to that in order to find out how many days it will last. So Riboku in his arrogance says that if they're able to outlast the Osun's army, then the Riboku army will definitely win. So with that is revealed that Shin has, with the half of the food supply diminished, because I think they are calculating the half of the food supply in this part. With half of the food supply already gone, they have about 10 days worth, and Gyaru and Ogyo has about 20 days of food resource. The Sao army say celebrating already because they all believe this is their victory. However, I wouldn't count on that too much yet. I mean, it's true though. The Shin army do not really have that much food or food left, so they are in disadvantage. They have to wrap this battlefield up in just 10 days. The question is, can they wrap it up in 10 days? A lot of people will die. They could just use the same thing as Kankei's armies are using dead horse meat as meat, but then again, that wouldn't exactly be nutritious. So yeah, the time limit starts now. 10 days for the Shin China army, 20 days for the Gyu army, so not the Gyuan city. Can Shin China defeat Ribuku until then? Well, they have no choice now. The suspense is once again increasing, with everyone acknowledging that now they really have to push themselves to the brink if they want to win. And Gyuyun, and now it seems that almost all the generals, except Ribuku and his vessels, have now acknowledged Shin as well as the youngsters of the new generation as threat. I mean, it's true though that Ribuku may have acknowledged Shin as a threat, but he has still also said that Shin has not yet reached his neck, so I don't think he acknowledges Shin that much, but he still cannot deny he's a big threat. So yeah, in the end, the one who wins here is the one who will be most underestimated. The third day, or was it the third day? I mean, this day is over. 10 more days thing. What happens to the Yontawa army? Well, to be fair, I'm actually not that interested in going back to the Yontawa army yet, because now I just want the Ribuku army to fall. We have so many armies we need to cover, and despair is hanging in the air. But you give me your thoughts if you have any.